Alex spent the following months immersed in his new normal. His routine was divided between the house he lived in and the company headquarters, with some occasional weekend getaways to Dubai. But one day he received a phone call from Patricia that felt strange. He answered as soon as he saw her name appear on the screen. "Eche, pumpkin. Hello, Dad. Is everything okay?" "Yes, everything's fine. Look, I'm calling to try to arrange a meeting. I needed to talk to you. About. We need to talk in person. It's not something I want to discuss over the phone, but is it something serious?" "No, Dad. It's nothing serious, don't worry. It's just something I want to talk about in person." Alex thought for a moment. "So, when?" "Well, any free weekend you have, or something like that." "And do you want to go somewhere specific?" "No. I just really want to talk to you." Alex checked his schedule. "This coming weekend is impossible, but does the next one work for you?" "Yes, it does." "Okay, then I'll take care of the flight." "Dad, I'm bringing someone with me." "Someone?" Alex thought, intrigued. "All right." He finally replied, "You can bring whoever you want, with one exception." "I know, Dad. Don't worry. I wouldn't do that to you." They talked a bit more, arranging details, and ended the call, which left Alex extremely intrigued. What could be so important that it had to be discussed in person? A week and a half later, he was waiting for his daughter at the airport. As soon as she saw him, as was customary, she ran to him, hugged him, and covered him with kisses. "I've missed you, Dad." Alex squeezed her tightly. He missed her just as much. "It's a shame your brother didn't come." Patricia pulled away from the hug and said to her father, "I asked him not to come this time." Only then did Alex notice the young man watching them timidly from a few meters away, clearly unsure of what to do. Patricia took the initiative, grabbing the young man's hand and dragging him forward to Alex. "Dad, this is Joshua." The boy extended his hand, clearly intimidated by Alex, who shook his hand firmly. "Hello, Joshua. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. I've heard a lot about you." Alex looked at his daughter with a questioning expression on his face. "Dad, Joshua is my boyfriend." This changed everything. Alex stared at the young man with a serious look and raised eyebrow, as if assessing whether this specimen was up to the task he seemed to be proposing. "Your boyfriend? How long?" "Not that it's any of your business, but we had just started dating a little before you left. And I'm only finding out now." "Dad, it's not like you were right next to me. You're on the other side of the world." At these words, Alex shrugged. No matter how much he wanted to be present in his children's lives, he couldn't escape the reality. There was no closeness, and that made him lose track of the lives of those who mattered to him. They left the airport and went to a house rented for the weekend. When they arrived, Patricia was surprised to see Paola in the kitchen finishing lunch for everyone. Patricia introduced Joshua to Paola and then they went out to the terrace, where her father was enjoying an aperitif before lunch. "Dad, what's going on with Paola?" "Nothing, dear. We've become friends, and from time to time, when I have a day off, I come here and spend a few days with her." "Friends, huh?" "Yes, friends." Alex replied with a mischievous smile. "I bet you've colored this friendship quite a bit." "Don't be nosy, girl. It doesn't suit you." Alex replied, which made his daughter laugh. "At least I understand why you're like this." "Like what?" "Lighter, as if a weight has been lifted off your shoulders." Meanwhile, their conversation was interrupted when Paola called them for lunch. They ate in relative silence, with Alex observing Joshua out of the corner of his eye, and he barely managed to lift his eyes from his plate. He was starting to understand what was going on, but he wanted either his daughter or Joshua to say something once and for all. "Patricia, what did you want to talk to me about?" "Wow, so direct." Are you that curious? I am. I've been wondering what it could be for a week and a half, so. Patricia smiled and then elbowed Joshua, who finally lifted his eyes from the plate, staring at Alex's serious, almost stern expression. Mr. Alex, the young man began with a not-so-secure voice, I was the one who asked your daughter to talk to you. Alex remained silent and still, his gaze unwavering. The young man was getting more nervous, and Alex, though not showing it on the outside, was laughing on the inside. Well. There's no time like the present. Spit it out, boy. The young man hesitated but looked at Patricia's smile, which seemed to encourage him, and continued, you know, the boy seemed on the verge of a panic attack. What do you want? Alex asked, leaning forward in his chair in an almost threatening manner. The young man swallowed hard and quickly said, I wanted to ask you for your daughter's hand in marriage. Alex leaned back again, with the same serious expression. Then he looked at his daughter and asked, he's not always like this, is he? No, Dad. But he's a bit intimidated. Paola was just watching all this with a smile while the young man seemed to want to curl up in the chair and disappear. Intimidated? By what? Well, by you. If you haven't noticed, you could dress up as Wolverine and walk around shirtless. I think you wouldn't owe much to the original. You're a bit intimidating. Alex shrugged and finally smiled as Paola burst into laughter at the situation. So haven't you guys talked about this already? Haven't you accepted it yet? Alex asked Patricia. Yes, but he insisted on talking to you in person, and to be honest, I agree with him. Alex extended his hand to Joshua, who shook it, and told him, welcome to the family. Later, while both women were chatting and tidying up the kitchen after coffee, Alex dragged Joshua to the terrace, where they sat at a small table with digestives in hand. I presume you already know your future mother-in-law. Yes, I do, of course. And do you know what happened? Patricia told me everything at the time. She had a really hard time. Okay, so in light of this, be aware of what I'm about to say. If you ever try to do anything stupid concerning my daughter, I'll nail your balls to a board before shooting you in the head. The young man looked at him wide-eyed. And no, I'm not joking. On the other hand, if she does something really stupid, before you talk to anyone, you talk to me. Understand? The young man looked at him in a scared way, but nodded. Great. Alex continued, now come here and give me a hug. The young man took a deep breath, smiled, and hugged his future father-in-law. Alex continued, I'm trusting you with what is most precious to me. I know you don't understand it now, I didn't understand it when I was in your position, but one day you will. They were all talking later in the evening when Alex asked, so, have you planned anything yet? A place, a date? No, Dad. Joshua wanted to ask for your permission first. Well, we need to think about where the wedding will be. Dad, it's going to be at home, obviously. Alex looked at his daughter. It can't be. Or I won't be able to be there. Why not? Because as soon as the plane lands, they'll take me straight to a jail, and then the lawyers will appear and start making life miserable. And why do you think that's going to happen? Because of the divorce. Patricia looked at her father, shook her head, got up, and said to him, hold that thought. I'll be right back. When she returned, she had some carefully folded sheets of paper that she handed to her father. Please read this. Alex recognized the handwriting on the sheets and immediately replied, I better not. I'm not interested in lies or justifications. Patricia took a breath. Dad, this was written as if it was for you, but it was never meant for you to read. I found these crumpled papers in the trash the day after I learned you had been shot, and I decided to keep them. So, read them. Alex looked at Paola, unsure of what to do. He didn't even want to pick up the papers his daughter was offering him, but Paola's calm gaze and her insistence made him decide to take the papers. He read the words slowly, his expression pained, under the worried gaze of Paola, who kept one hand on his arm, as if to comfort and calm him. When he finished reading, his expression was unreadable. "She never dealt with the divorce?" "No," Patricia replied. "And she won't deal with it. So you have absolutely no excuse for not coming home for my wedding. And if you don't come just because of my mother, you're going to find out what a furious daughter is."